Hey folks, I wish you a happy Holy Week here. It's Friday, Good Friday. I'm actually in my garage. It's snowing outside, northwestern Pennsylvania. I'm sitting in my boat. I've been tinkering a little bit with it, trying to get it ready. I just felt compelled to make this little video here. I make videos about, tractor stuff and brush hogs and all that, but I don't know, I just felt like I needed to make a little bit of a different video. And so I hope you bear with me a little bit with that. This week as a Christian, it's a little bit different than prior years where we walk this week together. We're in the church buildings, we're with family, we're with friends, and we're with our church family, and, we're hearing the words of the Gospels of Mark and Luke and John, and we're getting the account of Christ's walk, his parade, his crucifixion, the grave, and what ultimately happens. And for me, hopefully you've had a chance to reflect a little bit. If you're a Christian, it's a pretty important week. This is what it's all about. Right? The birth of Jesus is amazing. But in our belief, our faith, it's all about the cross. It's how he overcomes it. Death is defeated. And yes, we aren't able to worship as we had in the past. And I read stories on the internet, and you hear the stuff. And me personally, I miss some of those things that we were doing, and most of them, right? I miss. And but I also think about around the world how there are Christians that before this virus, before all these things were happening globally, they weren't able to practice the way they wanted. Today people do face persecution for being a Christian in different countries, in different areas. So while I am inconvenienced by all of this, it still doesn't stop me from reflecting and contemplating and really analyzing my life and looking at how blessed I really am, right? I was fortunate enough to be born in this country. We start with such an amazing benefit from that. And I had great parents, great family. I have great parents. And, I'm just this average guy. So I'm not a pastor. I feel like I'm on this amazing journey of discipleship for Christ. And, sometimes I just feel like I gotta talk about it a little bit. And so talking about this week, we've probably had hopefully a little bit more time to reflect. And I reflect on a lot of things during this week, every year. And it really, it's emotional for me because several years ago, I feel like I used to build these walls around things that made me vulnerable. And, I tackle life with this gusto, right? Like, nothing's going to stop me. I can take it all. Feel pretty strong, like physically, feel, fairly fit mentally. And I build these walls, though, around the things that make me look vulnerable. And God really started to tear those walls down in my life. And, let's say the wall is, as a Christian, and you maybe feel this way, it's like I know that I want to give thanks for the meal that I'm going to eat. But when you go to a restaurant, it's tough to find people praying before they eat. And so as a family, we made a decision. We're always praying before we eat, no matter what, no matter where. And I'm fortunate enough to work with some great men who believe the same thing. And, in business, a lot of times it's, hey, you can go to church on Sunday, but business is business. And I just feel very fortunate to work with some men who, they don't look at it that way. We're on this Christian journey, and it's a 24/7 journey. We don't toss it to the side or disregard it. And so that was one of the walls. It was, I'm going to lead my family. We are going to pray whether we're at Subway, whether we're at McDonald's, whether we're at the Olive Garden, whether we're at home, whether we're in front of customers, whether we're wherever we're at, that's going to be one of those things that we're going to do. And I hope it encourages other people. And I can tell you that people have come over to the table where I'm with my family and, put their arm on my shoulder and said, hey, just want to say thanks. Thanks for praying. I mean, it's amazing how that little thing that I built walls around where people were, coming out. I think there are people who are hungry for that stuff. I think people are. But we've got to be brave, right? I mean, and here we are, we're fearful. We're building these walls. It's like, I remember being a teenager and thinking, oh man, I believe, yep, Christ died for me, but I don't want to go so far that he's going to ask me to become, go on a mission trip, ask me to, use my money to do things, to use my time, to put me in situations that are uncomfortable. Built these walls, and they really were walls that kept me from being closer to Christ, being closer to God. And so, I feel like the last 20 years of my life, those walls, he's working on them. Boom, 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 taking them down. I think, it's like, here I am, I'm scared of being a little bit vulnerable. And, here, look at Christ's life. It's like, hey, here we are on this journey. We want to be more like Christ, but we don't want to do that stuff. I get it. The language we use, it's rough language, right? Everywhere you go. I mean, it just seems like things are becoming more coarse. The addictions, it's all the above, right? There's chemical addiction, there's sexual addiction, there's all these things. But I know one thing, God can overcome it all. He's been chipping away at my life, those walls. He wants me closer. I think about that cross that Jesus bore for me. Last weekend, it was a nice weekend, and I replaced my mailbox post. So I bought 2 big 6x6, 8-foot long, treated 6x6s, and they're heavy. I mean, I'm pulling them out of the truck, and I, fabricate, make this nice mailbox post. It's heavy duty, right? I want it to stand the test of time. And I got it all fastened together, and I need to move it out to the road, and I go to move this thing, and hey, I think I can move stuff, right? I'm a pretty tough guy. And I go to pick that thing up, and I was like, wow, this thing is heavy. And I thought right then and there, I'm like, wow, think about Christ picking up that cross. Trying to carry that cross. It wasn't a mailbox post. He was doing it for me. He was doing it for you. There's a song and it talks about how I'm the thorn in the crown. I am the nail in the wrist. I'm Judas's kiss. And that's what I am, right? I struggle with these things in my life that, I'm selfish. I want things my way. And I've got to give it up. Got to give it up to Christ. I mean, as a Christian, I am just so thankful that was done for me. It was done for all of us. But we've got to make a choice. And so for all of you that watch this, maybe that small little thing that you can do, and, if you watch some of my other videos and stuff, I like a continuous improvement. It's like, how do we get a little bit better? Like, how am I applying that to my faith walk? Praying a little bit more. Leading your family. Taking the coarse language and getting rid of it. Looking at where I put my time. Looking at where I put my money. thinking about how I follow the big command to love others. There's just so much that we can do. And it's not about waking up one morning and you're going to win the marathon, but it's about, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to put one foot in front of the other in this journey. Because Christ picked up that cross. And he put one foot in front of the other. And he knew it was coming. But he still did it. He did it for me, and I don't deserve it. He does it for all of us. And I'll tell you what, big bad tough guy, right? My life's been changed by it. I want everybody to experience the feeling I feel, the overwhelming sense of gratitude that I have. Because I recognize that this life is this long, and eternity stretches on forever. And I can try to live for this life, and I'm going to be pretty disappointed. Hardships are going to happen. And I'm not going to be in a place where I get to spend the rest of eternity, right? With Christ and with my fellow believers. So this Holy Week, it's different. And it's given me more time to reflect. And maybe it's because it's different. Maybe that's what we should get from this. It's different, and we need to think about why, and we need to think about what we can do. But I hope that you feel a little bit, maybe more at peace about taking another little step, to not being stagnant in your faith walk. That if you're there like, you know what, I believe Jesus died for me, but I just don't want to take all those other steps, that maybe you watch this video and you think, okay, this guy's doing it. Okay, I'm with other people. You're actually with a lot of people that maybe are scared to show it, but there's a lot of people out there. And if I'm showing it a little bit more, they're going to show it a little bit more. I mean, God sent his son for us. We shouldn't be afraid. So I hope that you have this desire to just take one little step further with it. To learn a little bit more about what Christ did for us. To take something in your life and analyze it a little bit and say, you know what? That's really not representing who I want to really be in Christ. Let's work on those things. I'm going to keep working on them. I'm just thankful. There's this overwhelming sense of gratitude that hits me this time of year. I think about God doing that for us. I hope that gets into you a little bit. And I hope that you get to contemplate a little bit more and reflect a little bit more. And I hope that Easter morning on Resurrection Day, I hope that you really get it. Hope you really understand what happened for us all. And I pray that you just keep taking those steps. One foot in front of the other. Being a better disciple. Thanks for watching.